Obviously, there's some great concerns, and we're waiting for updates from the hospital and indeed his own management team as to what is the situation. We do nevertheless know that he has his own personal physician there who knows him very well. Michael is a very tough guy, a very resilient, somewhat crusty on the outside. For those who don't know him very well, he comes across as being very hard, very determined, nevertheless hugely professional. But when you actually dig away all of those little things, there is a very strong, funny human side to him, very committed to all sorts of things, family, and in particular road safety. That was his big thing. So I am particularly surprised that he took upon himself with his 14-year-old Diddy to go skiing off-piste. At this time, we understand there's not an awful lot of snow. So we'll see what's happening. But if we were to describe the person, if you wanted somebody in your team to pull yourself out of the most difficult situation you could imagine, then you'd have Michael Schumacher in your team, without any doubt. We know how he fights back from all sorts of problems in the past. He made a comeback into Formula One. It didn't really go all that terribly well. We're trying to figure out what is going on in his mind. Is he happy with himself, or would he prefer to come back in a role in different sport or whatever it is? But Michael Schumacher is the toughest person you could ever imagine, and he will pull himself out of this if it's at all possible.
Eddie Jordan, many will say it's ironic that after a career in Formula One, as a high-risk career, a dangerous career, that this is where he is injured. He is a risk-taker, but known as a calculated risk-taker.
Well, I think he sees things differently. To you and me, us normal people, we see speed at a certain given speed. I think he sees speed in a much slower context. In other words, things come through as he doesn't see that as being risk. And it's funny, the accident he had, I think, a broken leg at Silverstone some years ago was the height of the extent of his physical injuries. Whereas then he went off to play with motorcycles and he hurt his back. And, of course, now skiing this. And so he is a risk taker, but these are sports that he doesn't know about enough, and certainly compared to what he knew about in Formula One. So, maybe he is thinking he can do whatever he feels he'd like to do, but sadly, age and years and experience catch up with us all, and maybe he can't ski and as well as he thinks he can.